No education system is teaching being an entrepreneur. They'll teach you
Yeah,
theory how to be an employee.
Now it's slowly changing because I work in the Australian education system.
If you want to become really millionaire, just go and live in Wall Street. First 1 week you will
Really?
feel very different,
Yeah.
but after 6 months you will get 100 friends who are extremely successful. After 2 years you will be a millionaire.
Don't know whether business is for you if you never try. So businesses can shut down or grow, but if the founder shuts down, it's all over, right?
Recent generation, they concentrate only on how much funding I'm getting. They just come up with the idea and ask for funding. Being a founder for the Uncommon Collective group, what is the main drawback you have observed in the early founders?
One of the biggest challenges is mindset. They teach you how to become an employee, how to work at a factory, how to follow processes. Sometimes when you're running a business, there might be multiple options to do the same thing. If you look at the #1 top athletes in the world, they can't be friends with everyone,
Yes.
and nor can everyone relate to their connect with what they're doing.
I would like you guys to join our community and wait for the inspiring video. Welcome to the today's episode. Today we have Eli, the founder of Uncommon Collective. In this podcast, you will get to know how to change your challenges into opportunities. Hi Eli, how are you?
Good, mate. Yourself?
I'm good too. How's your day been?
Yeah, it's been good. Just nothing too crazy. Yeah, glad to finally be doing this podcast with you.
Yep. I'm glad that you are here to share your total experience about Uncommon Collective group. So can you just explain me more about that?
Yeah, sure. So I run Uncommon Collective. It's a community-driven business that helps founders, creatives, and professionals that are looking to build impactful businesses and grow personally and professionally in community. So the way that we work is that we have 3 key pillars that we help founders and creatives with through. It's community. So we run community and industry events. We have content, so we provide free content and resources from 0 to 1, how to go from 0 to 1 in starting and growing a business, and tailored advice. So throughout the year we run challenges or programs that help startups, whether you're a professional transitioning into a startup or just someone who's looking to get into business for the first time as a side hustle. We have programs that provide tailored advice for you.
Okay, that's great. Being a founder for the Uncommon Collective group, what is the main drawback you have observed in the early founders?
Yeah, look, I mean, with early founders, there's a lot of different challenges. One of the biggest challenges is mindset. So I speak to a lot of international students, professionals looking to transition from corporate to a business career. Or start their own enterprise, but often because for example, if they're a corporate professional, they have such a high, they might have a high salary that they're looking to match, and they want that sense of certainty. So that's especially with a lot of Asian founders, first-time founders. They want a safe, certain path, and they want to know exactly how things are done, like 6, 3, or not even a year in advance. But often when you're building a business, being a founder yourself, you know how difficult it can be, chaotic
Yes.
businesses. So just not having the resilience and open-mindedness is one of the key drawbacks. And even with students, coming from a South Asian background or just an Asian background, I'm sure some Australians can relate to this, is that you want to do things in a way that are going to achieve results, and sometimes with entrepreneurship the results take 3-6 months to come alive. It takes 3 to 6 months to see it for the seeds that you're sowing today. So yeah, that's just a mindset shift between being an employee versus an entrepreneur.
Do you think only the mindset plays major role?
No, I mean that's one of the major roles. The other part, other challenges would be, especially for the kinds of founders and creatives that we work with, it's a lot of them are international students. They're from a migrant background, and sometimes that means they have less connections and resources or assets in Australia. So that can kind of make it difficult for them to knock on doors, ask, just get inside knowledge, and also have those connections that some people might have. But it doesn't mean that they can't do it. It just means that they have to adopt a different mindset.
A lot different mindset. It's not the same actually. If you compare with the Australian market into different perspective of compared to other markets, it's completely different. So you need to understand the what type of market you're working with.
Exactly.
That plays actually key role, and person should be ready to analyze the market and understand it.
Yes, exactly. So they need to understand, but they also need to be able to learn where their own weaknesses are,
Yes.
blind spots are, and that's something that education systems in Australia
Don't teach you.
don't really teach
I
you.
know.
They teach you how to become an employee,
Yes.
how to work at a factory, how to follow processes, and what they don't teach you is that there's sometimes when you're running a business, there might be multiple options to do the same thing, and there are multiple solutions. Whereas when you're in the classroom, they just tell you, if you don't follow this process, you're wrong. It's
Yes.
wrong. But as an entrepreneur or a business owner, sometimes you have to disrupt
Yes.
and create new paths. So, yeah.
I think not only Australian education system, no education system is teaching these things. Being an entrepreneur, just get the things done, how to do the finance, how to build a team, how to
Yeah.
organize the resources. They'll not teach you anything. They'll teach you
that's right.
theory, how to be an employee forever. That's it. That's the main motto actually. That's how the education system is built at this particular period. But when you compare this to previous generation, it was totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even though now it's slowly changing, because I work in the Australian education system with secondary schools and primary schools. These days they're starting to have some like 1 or 2 day programs around entrepreneurship, starting a social enterprise, but that's like the full extent as far as they go. Some will do like a few programs throughout the year, but students aren't really taught the mindset, which is more a way of being, rather than trying to get the right thing that your manager asks you for. So that's still very different. Yeah.
And it's very hard too. It's not only different. So for every international student or immigrant people, what is your best suggestion to them instead of getting into this matrix? Just how to build their company. So what is your best suggestion?
Well, yeah. Look, it's a case by case situation. So it depends at what stage in life they're looking to start a business. Let's say if it's a single mom, what I'm going to suggest a single mom to do in terms of starting her business, if she has 1 or 2 kids, it's very different to let's say a 21-year-old student who's got some financial runway and who understands also has some work experience with some skills that he can employ in the marketplace that he can also potentially transition into his business. So, yeah, I mean, if you give me an example of a person or perhaps a persona, it would definitely be different, the advice. So do you have a potential person you have in mind who's looking to start a business?
It depends on what exactly you wanted to build. It's not like getting things done with you. So if we are starting something new, our mindset should be same. I don't even say it's the same, but the main motto should be same.
Yes,
our
the
main
mission.
motto should be ambition. It should be same. So instead of we can get to 100 arguments every day, it doesn't make sense. But at the end, you need to figure out what is right. It's not that what you like, what is right. That's always plays key role in the early founders lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, I think I'll speak to students because I think a lot of people in our community are first time aspiring founders, or they're going from 0 to 1, and going from 0 to 1 is often the hardest. So if you're a first time founder who's a student, perhaps you just finish a master's or bachelor's degree, and you're asking yourself, I don't want to go. You have some work experience where you don't want to go. You're not 100% sure. You want to fully become a doctor, like full time, and you think that perhaps there's some sort of change that you want to create in the world that's meaningful. And with what I'd say is you really need to understand yourself. So take time to invest in yourself, build your skills, and understand yourself. And really reflect on where you are currently. What are some of the pains you see in your workplace? It could be, what are your curiosities, and then really distill those down. And it could even be things that you complain about. Yes. And people often think that when they complain, it's someone else's job to fix it, fix the problem. But especially when I'm talking to founders, I always say that, if there's something that you're complaining about, and a lot of people around you are complaining, it could be in society, it could be at home, it could be technology. Why not see if you could do something about it? It sounds crazy, but
yes.
But start small.
Nobody goes in that way actually. Everybody thinks in a different way.
Yeah. So there's different entry points, but if you have little experience, really discover who you are as a person, what ticks you, and the type of change that you hope to create in the world. And if you're in our community, what I like to say is that think about the type of change that will make an uncommonly large impact for not just you, but for the people around you. So essentially figure out how you can be useful and valuable in an uncommon way. And to do that takes a lot of reflection, learning, and just also understanding your industry, perhaps understanding what are the gaps in a product or service, things like that. And start small.
Yep.
Often I see people wanting to take big leaps and say, they have a lot of big talk, but big talk and small action.
Yes.
So
it's I think everybody is in that zone because they imagine extremely powerful thought process when they are visualizing about the product or something, but when it comes to the working point, it decreases. Lot things involves in that. Lot of components comes in between.
Correct.
So they need to, or everybody, early founders, they need to organize things in a proper way.
Correct.
I don't say everything falls apart in the first place. It may take time, but you should be smart enough to analyze them faster.
Yeah.
Yes. So coming to the pain and the mindset and industry gaps. So while building your uncommon collective, what is the unexpected lesson you have learned and how does it benefit you?
Yeah, look, one of the key lessons that I've learned is that if you're trying to do something great or brilliant or different in life and make an uncommonly large impact and pursue what authentically drives you, you're going to inherently be different or weird compared to your peers. Who, for example, when I graduated university, a lot of my peers were doing different things. When I actually was about to start my first business, everyone else was looking at trying to climb the corporate ladder. And when I used to talk about my business, they would be like, "Oh, what is that? That sounds." They'll immediately, some of them would zone out, and I realized that this is actually a good thing. It might seem like they're crazy. Initially, you will feel that most people don't understand what you're doing. They can't relate to you, and on some level, they might not even be curious to find out. But that's when I learned the difference between my friends and my real friends, and that's an unexpected learning that I had, which was as you progress in life, the higher you progress,
you get the
less and less people can follow and stay up to your pace.
Yes.
And it's like that in any industry. If you look at the number one top athletes in the world, not everyone, they can't be friends with everyone,
Yes.
and nor can everyone relate to their connect with what they're doing. Right.
I think the mindset, according to the as you told, that mindset plays key role there, because if you are being different, if you want to build something, if people doesn't even understand that, I'll say just keep away.
Yeah.
Just go do your work and be in a position where you just make friends where they go with the same knowledge or same interest, or how to build a company. That lifestyle is plays a key major role.
Exactly.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah.
what happens is if you tell your idea to a wrong person, you will be judged actually in the first place.
Exactly.
And what happens when you judge, you feel maybe it's not about feeling bad, but you will feel, am I doing wrong? You will feel you will question yourself in a
Yeah.
different way, where that question literally drags you down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a a treacherous place you don't want to really be, which is why I mentioned the first step is actually knowing who you are and the actual change that you want to create in the world. Because if you don't know who you are, you're going to try and look for it from
Yes.
other people's opinions.
Yes.
And they're going to say, oh no, that's bad, that's useless. Why don't you get a real job? Why don't you
In 100%, in 100 people, 99 people are like, 99 people will judge you, saying that don't do this, doesn't work, just go do job, 9 to 5 job.
Yes.
That's a peaceful lifestyle. Yep. I'll say always don't be a seeker, always
Exactly.
be a giver. Yeah.
Exactly. My top suggestion for this is like something that you already touched on, which is don't tell your bigger ideas to small-minded people.
Yes.
So
I think it will reflect in a way that you will be putting your energy in a wrong zone, so that it may reflect in a positive way or negative way. So instead of wasting time, just take a time and figure out who is the best person to talk.
yeah, exactly. And it's going to require you to do some uncomfortable work, meaning, internal work. Think about what really matters to you. Is it just being friends in the same circle as you were in high school? Or are you the type of person that's okay in new environments? As an entrepreneur or business owner, you have to be able to adapt in different environments, speak to different kinds of people, move around. But sometimes people fall into that trap because they feel that, especially some of the founders that I speak to from an Asian background, they can fall into the trap of thinking, oh, but my friends and family think this way, and they don't support it. So at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, I would suggest anyone to ask themselves, who are you actually living for? Are you living for the opinions of
somebody else,
of your granddad, your mom, your sister, maybe your best friend, or are you living for something greater? Are you going to live life on your own terms in a way that is impactful for others?
What is the biggest cultural difference you observed in early founders compared to these 3 countries?
When I moved to New Zealand, I was quite young. I was around 5 or 6 years old. So whenever someone asks me, where are you from? I always say I'm a Kiwi by heart. But it wasn't until I moved into Australia where I started my own business, and I started speaking to entrepreneurs. So I would say, although I don't know the difference in terms of entrepreneurs in, first-time founders in New Zealand, India, and Australia, what I would say is there's a lot of commonalities that we talked about, and the pace. One other key difference is the pace of doing business. In Asia, now that I've spoken to more entrepreneurs, what I realize is the pace is a bit quicker. They move faster, they make bigger moves, and they make those moves quicker, right?
Yes.
And then in New Zealand, the pace of life is also slower. So the way people do business is slower. So that's a change. But over here in Australia, people are a bit more open-minded. And then when you get to the US, again, it's
totally
very
different,
fast. Again, it's like another level of entrepreneurship. So in the US, you might have known that they have you know how we have Chamber of Commerce in Victoria? there's a chamber of commerce for each state, right? But in the US, they have a chamber of commerce for each suburb.
Yep.
So just imagine how much entrepreneurship is happening there, right? So
I think a couple of days back I was talking to some business person who who is running business in USA, and I asked him what is the biggest thing you observed in compared to Australia and US market. Then he told me that was like really mind opening thing for me. He told, if you want to become really millionaire, just go and live in Wall Street. First 1 week you will
Really?
feel very different,
Yeah.
but after 6 months you will get 100 friends who are extremely successful. After 2 years you will be a millionaire.
really,
Yes, because you will be hanging out with the same minded
Exactly,
people. When
yeah.
you go to happy hours in the evening,
Yes.
you will be meeting the same mindset people.
exactly.
Yeah, then you will get to share your ideas, they'll get to share your ideas. If something match up, that's where you start working together. That really helps out. But I think Australia doesn't have that type of culture till today.
Yeah, we don't have that culture. It's not
Yes.
bred.
And
It's not built.
And even with the happy hours, I have seen happy hours going in Australia with the employees only, but not with the founders and startup ventures, these things.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, you're right. So that plays a big part, which is one of the reasons why Uncommon Collective we have a focus on community, because entrepreneurship is something that's done not alone. It can be done, but the chances of success is lower, but it increases it dramatically when you change your environment with people that know, that live and breathe.
Same mindset maybe.
Yeah, the mindset. Yeah.
Yep. How many people you have in the group community?
Yeah, so today we have over 120 like in our,
120. Yep.
in our WhatsApp, but online we have over 500 founders.
That's huge. So having 500 founders, what is your main motto with everybody?
Yeah, look, our motto, I always say the motto for Uncommon Collective is to make the uncommon common for founders, creatives, and professionals to achieve uncommon growth and help people live out their highest calling. And what that means is discovering who you are, the type of change that you want to create in the world, and then going after that. So growing personally and then growing professionally. Yeah, and usually that involves starting a business. So not everyone in our community ends up starting a business, but one thing I'd like to say is that you don't know whether a business is for you if you never try. Right? So if someone comes in to the community or into our business and they realize that, hey, I can't work without a job description, I can't work without a boss telling me what to do, then it's still successful for them to discover that maybe starting a business is not for them. So that's fine.
Coming to the community, just let me know how many success stories you have in your community.
Well, it's hard to put a number exactly on it.
You can explain me one story.
Right. Well, there's definitely people that are successful, and success is measured in different ways depending on who you speak to.
Yes.
I believe that my definition of success is someone. I'd like to say that what we focus on in UC is founder success over business success.
Okay.
So what that means is,
just tell me what is the difference. It's a lot difference actually.
Yeah. So what that means is that generally, if you look at the trends in starting a business and the stats out there, the likelihood that someone starts a really successful, high turnover business with their first business is low, compared to the founders who are able to keep at it. Maybe they do the first business fails, the second business is average, and then the third business is where they often find their stride. So businesses can, shut down or grow, but if the founder shuts down, then it's all over, right? So that's what we try to optimize for, which means so that's the first difference. But look, one success story in our community would be Sean. So Sean, he runs a advertising business, and they have a innovative way to do billboard advertising where they can actually measure don't quote me on this,
No, no.
but they can measure like the ROI. So one of the main issues with billboard advertising is that you can't tell how many people, like compared to Facebook, how many impressions you're getting, but they have an innovative way to track the ROI between a advertisement through like Internet of Things, and he was able to secure like a lot of funding. I'm not going to say the exact amount because sometimes I think people glorify it too much.
Yes. Getting funding is not the best part, I feel.
Yeah.
Because every founder who start their business, mainly a recent generation, they concentrate only on how much funding I'm getting. They just come up with the idea and ask for fundings. And I think many business doesn't need funding to build in a proper way.
Yeah.
In initial days, to make it professional and proper, and till you get your service done to the people or reach out to the customer, you don't need a proper funding. Only for some business, like
Depends.
when you go to high level of components, sometimes you need funding. But you need to know how to secure your fundings and use it in a proper way.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a common misconception, I would say. Another successful story would be Shri. So Shri, they run a company called AR VR Solutions, and so Shri she's actually a mom as well, but she started this business where they provide AR VR, like virtual reality solutions for enterprises, right? And initially, when I first met them a few years ago, they didn't really have many clients, and today, so about a couple of years ago, they had very little clients, but today they've expanded internationally and they're making well over 200K per year.
That's pretty good.
So I could tell you stories like that. They obviously have bigger goals. They've even have clients in, I think, Middle East. They have expanded to the US now. So yeah, I think they've come a long way for an emerging technology company, and Australia's a bit lagging behind in terms of like VR, AR, etc. So they've done well so far.
Yes. Then coming to the event part, look, so as we are discussing from long time, as we wanted to do something bigger in the events. So how does your events, like, it's not offensive because we wanted to start something together, na?
Yes.
So I wanted to tell everybody, local audience, just letting them know what exactly our events do and how does it really help them if they come to the event.
Yeah, look, so the difference between our events and other events is that we really have a sense of community in our events. So we have an event series called Beyond the Hype.
Okay.
And it's almost exactly as it sounds. We talk about real industry questions and topics beyond the hype. So our first event was beyond the hype of AI and VR technology. So we had speakers come in from Meta, KPMG, and we also had a live Q&A, or opportunity to speak to the industry experts one-on-one in person. And of course, if you're coming out to one of the events, you have to make sure you have food and drinks. So that's on us. And yeah, I think the key thing is that with the events, we talk about things in a pragmatic way that's beyond just industry hype. You must know by now, you probably heard the term AI 10 times in 2 weeks or more.
No, it's becoming faster actually. Recently I have seen McDonalds in the USA started serving their customers with robots.
Wow.
That's like massive because
like physical robots that go out.
No. When you go there, you need to order. I don't know how the system works inside, but you'll get your food into a packing bag, and it wherever you're standing, it will drop you there. So it has a holes on the top where the food travels from the kitchen to you. And it was like massive change. If you take seriously, McDonald's has 19,000 stores all over the world, and massive changes will be done. people will lose their jobs according to the system.
Yeah.
But they're just doing test trials. But I'm pretty sure one day they'll do it.
That's insane. So what if they ordered like a drink?
I don't know how it works because I never tasted it. I wanted to see actually. They had one store in the USA, but they're just doing test trials from last 3 months, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not deeper into the details, but it was just some article I was reading. But which is like I calculated 19,000 stores. Imagine how many people will lose their jobs.
Yeah, look, it's happening whether we like it. Innovation is going to happen whether we
and
like
even
it.
Amazon, if you compare, Amazon started to deliver warehouses. In the warehouses, the work environment is changing into robots.
Yeah, Amazon's been ruthless with their what do you call it? Productivity.
But
yes,
I say, see,
it's crazy because
I'll say
look at the size.
That's right. Actually, see, I'm not offending anyone, but if you think from perspective of organization or company, they need to see how it's running. They need to obviously do cost cutting according to the system.
Yeah.
They need to minimize their wages. They need to check on their profits. So obviously they'll do whatever is good for the company, not for the people.
Yes, I understand that. It's just it just depends on the mission of the company.
Yes.
Of the organization. Like if an organization is trying to optimize for revenue, then of course you're gonna see mass layoffs. They're going to try and replace people.
And India, if you compare Tata Motors and Reliance, it's like two different theoretical knowledge. Tata always try to make country glorify, and it always works with the projects which are useful for the people.
Yeah.
I don't say Reliance will work, but Reliance is more concentrated about their own profits. That's a difference. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not familiar with those two, but it sounds like one Reliance is more cutthroat.
Have you not seen Ambani's son's wedding? It went
yeah,
crazy.
I saw his wedding.
Yeah, it went crazy, huh?
I saw his wedding.
Total, like, I think every country has started talking about that.
Yeah, so that's his father's business, right?
Yes.
Tata Motors or
no, that's Reliance Group.
Reliance.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, I saw some news articles around that. It's crazy.
Not even crazy. It was like he literally called all the celebrities, from all over the world.
Yeah, that was over the top.
Yeah, serious. Now they are having a marriage in the London again. Yeah, now they have completed Indian tradition. Now they shifted it to Western culture. They wanted to do one more according to the Western culture.
Incredible. That's wild. Yeah.
So he gave me like a list of things and asked me, I was like, you can choose it whoever you want. I was like,
insane.
Yeah. Then I told, we are meeting. We are meeting again next week. I think no, this week. We are meeting on Friday.
Yeah.
So there he is getting the TV channel's prime journalist.
Yeah.
So he's getting dinner with them. So I'm going to. He invited me to that event. So I'm going to have a conversation with them. How to build our entrepreneurs into a globally.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's good. We need to. That's where I told even Manjula. That was like I felt very comfortable when I meet right people. It's not always about we going to, because we know how much effort we are keeping on the project.
Yeah.
It is not about even addressing the value I'm giving, but it's about understanding the project.
Yeah.
He understood, and I was like, then he told me, you're doing very awesome job. Don't be like nervous. I was like, I'm not nervous, but I'm just listening to you what exactly you are doing.
Yeah.
And immediately next door, I told you that mayor candidate was sitting. He just knocked the door and called that guy and just introduced me. He was some Lebanese guy. He's contesting in the elections too. So coming to the point.
That's great. Yeah. So it's just about meeting the right people.
Yes, that's what I say.
And who align with your mission.
Yeah. He's the mayor candidate right now in the city.
Yeah.
Or they are like investing a lot on that. Actually, because there are three. I told you there are three people from the Aussies and other are from the other communities. Totally, there are 8 contestants.
Yeah.
Wow. Coming to the AI topic, as we are going through that. So, do you think because AI is getting super crazy and developing faster, do you think is there any harm for the traditional jobs?
Well, depends. This is an interesting question because it really depends on how you define traditional jobs. If you define traditional jobs as plumbing, carpentry, maybe
for Australia, those are the traditional jobs, I think. For the other countries, not.
No. But seriously, all the labor, blue collar labor jobs, jobs where you have to maintain personal relationships, so with like high value clientele, then no. So it's actually, I think it's actually the opposite. Most largely the labor force in terms of traditional jobs aren't going to be blue collar jobs, aren't going to be replaced by AI, but it's more the white collar roles and jobs. So what we're starting to see is that roles are becoming broader, and there's sometimes more expertise required, and the tools will allow us to, at least from what I'm seeing, is it's going to allow us to maybe kickstart processes, like speed up work. But so AI is not going to replace people's
But in terms
jobs
of
fully.
tech jobs,
So AI is not going to replace people's jobs fully, but people who know how to use AI will replace people who don't, especially tech jobs, especially tech and white collar jobs. So anything that's like teaching, anything that you can do through a medium, laptop, then, and your like, sorry, the main interactions through that, it might be at risk. But at the end of the day, because now it's the issue is that they're even coming up with digital fakes, like deep fake.
yes,
Deep fakes.
deep fakes, yep.
So let's say you and I are doing podcasts, they can even
Fake our videos, yes.
fake superimpose someone else's face. So then even now the media is the biggest problem. One of the big problems we're going to see is like, how do we know the fake information from the real information on social media? So you might be scrolling one day, let's say your magazines become really big, like Forbes. Someone might try and
It will actually. I'm heading there actually.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you're heading there, right?
Yeah.
So then you might face a challenge where people will steal your kind of content style, but they will change the message, and they can divert traffic or views, or they can change the views of your audience.
Yes.
Because now they have a disruptive.
Yes.
So that's like disinformation. So we're gonna start, even whenever there's elections going on, like state and federal, there's going to be a higher chance that. I'm not saying it's going to create a job. It's going to create criminal jobs for criminals. But that's just one example.
Yes.
But that will also create jobs on the other side, because we need to combat. We need security measures to combat this. So maybe programming could be replaced. Video editing. Obviously, AI is booming, right? The speed
extremely.
Speed is too high. It's probably like it's the exponential boom right now that we're seeing. But how many of those tools are overlapping in terms of functionality? A lot.
Extremely.
Yeah, a lot of them will be overlapping.
A lot of them.
So it's a tricky space to say. But what the distinction would be, can AI be creative? Yes. But it can't be creative in a way that we are as personal as human beings. Like, cause like for example, you have your own brand. I have my own brand. Like Elon Musk has his brand. AI can't replicate fully.
Yes.
Fully that. So.
But coming to the technical theory, it can actually impact a little bit, not too much.
Yeah. Well, I think. Like I'm saying, like a lot of the white collar jobs can be impacted. So you can use AI agents. So you can replicate an accountant through, instead of speaking to your accountant, you speak to the AI agent. You don't need a VR assistant. You can automate like processes. Once you have a SOAP, standard procedures of operation, or SAP.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact term. But once you have that set process, you can automate a lot of stuff. But what we're starting to see, generally AI is like having a smart college grad, right? They're good at a lot of general things, but they're not well trained on specific things.
I think it's all about the data, how it is used. My personal suggestions to all the young entrepreneurs right now, start learning about AI. Because if you don't do it right now, because from my generation, from last 10 years, maybe it's like a decade, after COVID, the startup space has like extremely grown.
Yeah.
So if you are not accommodating yourself with the crowd, trust me, you will fall back. You will be in the old
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's becoming more of a necessity to at least know how to use the tools. You don't have to be creating products
Yeah.
or services, but companies should be at the stage where they're at least adopting some tools, integrating with their current workflows. But if not, they're going to be replaced by companies who are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, when some companies needs the replacement of, when the company is growing, they need to concentrate on how fast it is going. It need to be evaluated and compared with other companies. It should be in the race. So obviously, whatever jobs it can be replaced, it will try to do the same thing with the
Correct.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think, yes, getting on the AI bandwagon is good, but it depends on like what stage of your business you're and how you're applying it. And so I'll give you an example. You know, if you're consulting and if your let's just say copywriting is already bad, and then using an AI agent, let's say if you're writing blogs but your ideas are already bad, then and you're trying to iterate a blog based on your material, the output's still going to be crappy. So the business has to have a good process foundation to start with. AI is just an amplifying tool, right?
Yes. It just helps you. That's it. It can't play key role, but if you know how to use it, it may help you to boom your business a little bit. Yeah. You can get a little bit tech support. Running in the race compared to other business, you can do a little bit more advanced way.
Yeah. So on that, we're starting to see companies wanting to build their own in-house like AI repository solution, so that the AI can gather insights based on the company's data corpus for different departments. Whereas traditionally you might need a data analyst to do that, and that's really expensive.
Yeah.
Right? You might even need a whole team. But today we might even be able to do that, expedite and speed up the process.
Yes. Although you integrate everything with AI, it is hard to secure your data in any way, because last year, did you heard about the Optus?
Yeah.
Literally the CEO resigned immediately. Next day.
I'm glad. He should be resigning after that.
Yeah. Literally they have like millions of dollars worth of data has been stolen in a single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard. But then that's one of the reasons he's being paid the big bucks. Right?
Yes.
What's the point in being paid millions of dollars if you're not going to give people secure? So,
yes.
And I was Optus customer, so I know, but I wasn't affected. But this is what I mean. I changed as soon as after that I changed my provider.
Telstra?
No.
I was with Vodafone before, but now I'm with Telstra.
Yeah. No, exactly. So it's always a challenge.
Yep. Jumping back to the Uncommon Collective, can you tell us about the moment that you decided to start Uncommon Collective group and why?
Yeah. Actually, I started UC about three years ago, where I first, it was actually, it started 3 years ago, but the inspiration for that happened a bit further back. So it was like the start of the mid or start of the pandemic, where I had just I quit my corporate job, and because I realized that the work that I was doing, it just wasn't, I don't know, it's essentially the team, the environment, and the work that I was doing, I didn't find it meaningful. It wasn't the type of change that I wanted to create.
You're not happy with the job.
Yeah, I wasn't, and the company was mess. It was during the pandemic. My role was essentially organizing logistics, coordinating transport for resources and travel for a group of our consultants who used to deliver PD workshops across Australia. But of course, as soon as the pandemic started, a lot of the travel stopped, right? So interstate travel stopped, and so they were trying to move everything online. But ultimately, I realized that that's not exactly the type of change that I wanted to create in the world. But my first experience in starting a business was actually through my ex-girlfriend. So at that time, what happened was she was an international student, and she wasn't one of those international students that had, you know, had their parents pay for their course. She actually was studying biotech, like doing a master's in that, but working during the day just to pay off her university fees. And you know, as you probably know, like international fees are incredibly high, like $30,000 per semester. So most of her money used to be going into that. And I suggested to her, you know, I was like, hey, you have a lot of skills. She's very interested in handmade products. Why don't we
Start
try,
your own venture.
yeah, why don't we try selling these products on the side? And so we started with Saturday markets. Eventually that business was successful. But what inspired me to start UC was just going through that process where I realized that, hey, you know, we can, I can help people make money, and I can even help myself
Making more money.
Make money.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's meaningful work. Today I'm not really an active partner in the business. So she's still running that business.
But you told that it is your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
So you're still with the partner?
I'm a silent partner right now. So, but one of the reasons I started UC was because I realized, reflecting on my own journey and a series of conversations in discovering who I am and the gaps I saw in the world, in the marketplace, and yeah, just the change that I wanted to create, is that I discovered that although I like fashion, I enjoy helping. You know, with Alchemy, we created a business where we create gainful employment in developing countries. But the type of change that I wanted to create is help other people live out their highest calling through creating impactful change in the vehicle of business. And that's what inspired me to start UC, is to make those things which were uncommon for me, which was connections, community, and tailored advice, as well as just people in my corner that could help me kind of unlock doors that I didn't have as a migrant. So that's why I started UC.
So you felt that the idea is uncommon, so that's why you kept it as an Uncommon Collective group, huh?
No, well, the reason for the name is actually what I found, what was uncommon in the journey of starting a business. So that's building those connections, because I moved from New Zealand and I had a lot of great connections there. So essentially, when you move to a new country, you got to restart. Resources is uncommon, so we provide a lot of education and free content. So the education aspect, the personal and professional development kind of guidance, and tailored advice, which was initially, when you start a business, you can't afford, you know, $200 or $300 per hour for a coach, right?
Yes.
But within our community, we actually enable really good advice that's low cost or free. But you know, it's not for everyone. We were trying to make sure it's a community for driven, like-minded people that want to create purpose-led change through business. Not for those who want to, you know, make a quick, you know, quick money.
I think you even do what do they call that?
Events.
Founders Walk. What is it called?
So we run different events. One of those are Founders Walk. So the idea behind Founders Walk is non-traditional networking. How many times have you been to a networking event where you have to dress up? You meet one-to-one. It's really short transactional conversations, and you realize that, you know, it's very transactional. You can't really talk about other stuff. It's very much what they can get, and then people kind of move on It's very fast.
It's quite professional
So-
talk you'll have there. Yeah.
Yeah, but what we do in UC with Founders Walk is it's more about connecting.
Mm.
So you can show up as your whole self.
Mm.
Some people bring their if they have kids, they bring their pram.
Mm.
Some people bring their dog. There was one person, he brought his mum.
Seriously, that's good actually.
We know, but-
because her,
but-
yeah, that was
'Cause
really impressive.
his mum wanted
Yeah,
exercise.
yeah.
So the idea of Founders Walk is, as it sounds, we meet at a garden.
Mm.
We go for a walk, and we go for a walk around the garden, and then after that we have coffee together.
Mm.
So it's really low key, chill environment
Mm.
where you can just really connect with people, and we have had a lot of great feedback where people feel like they actually know people.
Mm.
They feel known and heard and seen,
Mm.
and they've met a lot of great connections. Everyone dresses normally.
Mm.
we don't dress black tie or
Mm.
suits. Not that you can't come in a suit. It's just that you can just show up how you
Yes.
normally show up, right?
It's like
Yeah.
be like yourself, not like too much classic professional.
Exactly.
But I love the concept, that gives more accessible to the conversations where you can have a good conversation with the opponent, anybody whom you're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sit and discuss with them, have a coffee. That gives you more pleasure and understanding between each and everybody.
Correct. Yeah. So it's even a lot of introverts sometimes find it difficult to network in a large group. But
Mm.
just having one-to-one, it's just like it's easy because you're walking and talking. It's very natural.
Mm.
The other event that we're doing is or series is called Momentum
Mm.
Circles,
Mm.
and the idea is that for a lot of founders, startup founders, and perhaps even professionals who have done either formal education in entrepreneurship or even a startup incubator or accelerator, what we found is that if you look at the landscape right now, there's so many incubators, accelerators, and sometimes people who go through those programs, they can lose momentum. So you might start off in a program, you have a lot of support, connections, community, and momentum, and then it drops off because you don't have that environment
Yes.
to keep you going,
Yes.
and you don't have other driven people on the same wavelength.
Mm.
So what we do is we run a fortnightly event called Momentum Circles, where like-minded, driven people who are serious about starting or growing a purpose-led business show up. We talk about highlights, lowlights, both the professional side of running a business,
Mm.
also the personal side. And in this environment, it's it's very confidential. So whatever is said in the room stays in the room.
Mm.
And what we found is that people actually end up sharing their personal challenges alongside their business challenges.
But how do you make sure that the information stays in the same room?
Yeah, just with the recruitment process, we make sure we choose people that are trustworthy. That's the first thing. We have an application process. We make sure that everyone has the same understanding. But at the end of the day, even if you sign an NDA, you can't do much if someone violates the NDA. So we do have like written terms that people agree to. But obviously the idea here is that we don't just want people to talk about small talk in which they might share with. Generally, if you're not close with someone, you'll just share like the top 20%.
Yes.
What's
It's
happening.
like only summary.
Yeah,
Not-
just a
just
summary,
summary, not
right?
total. Yes.
And also it makes sense because you don't know if they're in the same wavelength. They haven't given you that, if confirmation that they're not going to share this information or misuse, etc. But imagine if you have a highly committed group of people that are all mission driven, that are working, actively towards a goal, and they keep you accountable both on your professional and personal actions that you're committing to. So every week we check in and see how you're progressing, and we also dive deep into. We have a spot called a spotlight, and the unique part of spotlight, unlike other sort of masterminds, is that we don't we try and allow people to share anything, not just business. So sometimes what we find is entrepreneurs who are running a business have personal challenges, right? So they might have like a partner, she's like, you know, she might say to the husband who's running a business, she might say, hey, I really miss our lifestyle. The more we had more time together, we had more less pressure, and we have the kids. We were able to take our daughter to a more prestigious school, but now I feel that, you know, working too much, and she might so whereas the husband might not be able to have these conversations with his work colleagues, they can have these discussions here. And we share, the way they learn is through unsolicited experience sharing. Sorry, we avoid unsolicited advice, but rather we encourage people to share experiences. So in our room, we have obviously a wide range of experiences, and people are able to say, how do they navigate? You know, we distill it down to one question, and we help people figure out how to navigate that challenge or opportunity. So that's just one example of like a personal,
that's pretty
personal
impressive
challenge.
actually. Yeah.
But if you think about it, every business challenge on the back of it has a personal challenge. So you know, you might feel stressed, overwhelmed with the amount of, even though, let's say you're trying to figure out clients, but how do you deal with the chaos, the stress behind figuring out your next, you know, where your next partner, you know, how to navigate that. So that's how we build entrepreneurs' capacity and resilience on the personal side as well.
Yep. Actually, relationships gives you a lot of pressure. That's where you know, that's really game-changing point actually, because as you told, relationships, understanding partner, like it is like hell if you. I know that's like pretty hard actually. So how do you suggest couple if somebody is into wanted to start something new right now?
As a couple?
Yep.
Romantic couple. Yeah, like they're
maybe,
together.
Together.
Engaged, married.
It may be anything.
Okay.
What do you suggest for them?
Look, generally I don't provide advice, but
from your experience,
so from my experience, but it's a case by case, and that's something you'll see in momentum circles, is that we have a focus on sharing experiences rather than advice, because advice is sometimes people might not want to take it on, or it might leave them in an uncomfortable position.
But many people are not ready to share their personal relationship issues with third party.
They might not be, and if that's them, then maybe this group is not for them. But for those people who are, what you'll find in life and in entrepreneurship, if you're not willing to take the risk, you don't gain the rewards. So high commitment communities where you can journey together, share your highs and lows, is where you can see progress and learning. So an example would be if a couple, look, this is not advice, but just a scenario.
Yes.
It might be different for you know, different couples, because not every couple can run a business together.
Yes. It's pretty hard actually.
We have to be honest about that. So every couple, I would say to them, you know, if they ask me explicitly for advice, I would say, you know, have a look at how you two are both communicating, how well do you handle conflict, how well do you handle chaos, uncertainty, and how well are you able to support each other when things are not going okay. And then if they're able to say, you know, I'm willing to be homeless with you for 3 months, and I'll support you, I'll back you, but I'll also make sure that you know, I'll be in the mud with you, but I'll also make sure you know, help you avoid those scenarios. Then I'd say if they're willing to accept that there's going to be blurred lines, you're going to have to have a relationship where you're speaking. You need to ask your partner, am I speaking to you as a business partner or as a partner? Husband?
Yep.
And they need to understand how to delineate, because men, there's also gender, what do you call it, male and female differences.
Yeah, maybe ego.
Yeah.
I would just want to
Egos.
name it like ego.
Ego. There can be ego, right? So you have to think about this stuff. So some couples are able to do it. I'm not saying you can't do it. It's just that you've got to be willing to accept the downside
True, yes.
as well as the upside.
It's I think it's all about relationship and the vibe you have with your wife. You should have a I don't say it's guts, but you should be free to talk to her. Just make
Correct.
sure that tell her what's going on. If she has better ideas, you can just take from
Correct.
from our experience. It doesn't mean that you need to go for ego and say you don't tell me what to do.
Correct.
You may have hundreds of issues outside. When it comes to home, you should be relaxed and start talking to her, explain what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you both have to be on the same level wavelength. And one thing that screws up a lot of couples is that you'd see either one partner is highly risk adverse and the other partner is like a visionary.
Yes, strong, and he wanted to grow bigger.
Yeah, and he's willing to take high risks for high rewards. But if these two are not meeting somewhere on a minimum level, then it's going to create chaos.
Yes.
Or
not small chaos, trust me.
Yeah.
Blast you. Oh god.
Big chaos. And it's hard for both parties to have the same idea and mission all the time, right? And it's going to go into your personal life and you have to be okay with that. So generally I don't suggest people to go into as husband or wife or fully committed relationship. I suggest not to go into a business together unless you're totally in this 100%.
Yes.
Because otherwise,
even my suggestion would be, don't do it. That's it.
It sounds like you have some experience
no,
there.
because see, I can see many people who are married. I worked with many people, and I have been into business with who already got married. After 7 o'clock, they tell me, "Prithvi, I need to go home." I was like, "What happened?" My wife is called. That's not the reason, but they'll say, "Oh no, you don't know. When you get married, I can sense the feeling how hard it is for them to manage in the both. I'll say, okay, let's."
Yeah. Well, whereas some couples they even spur each other on. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but you know when it's right when your partner is able to uplift you and encourage you, and you feel a boost. And they give you a boost to be able to do more.
Yes.
And they also feel that boost when they're talking about business. Yeah. Whereas if it's one person's becoming drained and the other person dragging the other person down.
Yes.
That's not good.
Because you'll be losing all your energy, mental energy. That's when you drain your energy in a way that you can put that energy into other projects or other thought process.
Correct.
Where you will be achieving something. You'll get a solution there.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it was very glad talking to you, Eli. That was amazing experience, and thanks for joining Inspire. And we are going to do, events together. We'll see how it comes.
Looking forward to those events. Yeah.
And keep waiting. That's it. Thanks for coming. Okay.
Well, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, brother. Please do watch, subscribe, and wait for the more interesting videos.